Alright, hi everyone. While we wait for folks to tune in here, and thank you for everyone for sticking around for it starting a little late, but we'd rather have everybody here. So I'm going to put up all the hashtags and handles for everyone associated with this, so that way you can screen capture it all and tune in, and it also gives me a chance to retweet this out, because of course we have to retweet it.
Sure.
So, but yeah, thank you for everyone for coming around, sticking around for the Scicomm One Day Live on Location from iAgler 2017. As you can see, we are literally right on one of the connecting waters between the Great Lakes here, so it really offers a really good location. And I'm kind of half hoping that I actually got the IJC building in the background.
I was going to say,
there, it's one of them. It's one of them in there. No, it's the brown building. I think it's that one right there. So
hi, IJC.
Yeah. Hi, Allison, if you can hear us. I had the joy of broadcasting from that location last year.
Cool.
So with that, we're going to be talking about the Social Great Lakes Symposium that's going to be tomorrow. So for any of you who are interested in Scicomm, definitely tune in for that. But we have one of the co-chairs along with yours truly here.
Yeah, Nicole. Yeah. So hi guys.
Katie O'Reilly. So go ahead and tell them a little bit about yourself. So
yeah, well, hi guys. Nicole and I were just reminiscing. We actually did a Periscope at iAgler last year. A little less sophisticated of a setup. I think we did it from a stairwell.
It was just me, the phone, hanging out like this as far as I possibly could.
But it was cool because that was actually kind of the birthplace of, Social Great Lakes, where we came up with this kind of crazy idea to do some Scicomm. So it's nice to see it come full circle, and actually we've got like really great speakers talking about their Scicomm. And different ways of communicating some of the really cool Great Lakes science that's going to happen here this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really interesting to go from having what felt like really not a lot going on last year to actually really having it robustly accepted this year. For those of you who just tuned in, an hour ago we had Jim Diana on, one of the co-chairs of iAgler, actually willingly sitting down to a Periscope broadcast, and he really enjoyed it, and it was a good time. So it's nice to be able to see a conference, an organization really
embrace it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we were talking, it seems like there's a really cool atmosphere here that is conducive to doing Scicomm and encouraging it. So we're looking forward to really sharing the cool Great Lakes science this week.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I mean, there's going to be different things going on. So why don't you tell us a little bit about maybe kind of what you're going to be talking about tomorrow? Kind of give everyone a little preview of what's to come.
So I don't want to give too much away, steal the thunder.
You all watch it live tomorrow.
Course,
but here's like your little 2 minute, you're sitting in the theater preview to get you all engaged.
The teaser trailer.
Yeah.
Well, for me, if some of you who may follow me may have seen in December, I did this crazy thing called 25 Days of Fishmas, which was really just the combination of my love of fish puns and Great Lake science. And so each day I featured a different fish species that's found in the Great Lakes and talked about both the ecology and kind of the science behind the fish species, as well as their social impact. That some of the social, some of the economic impacts, and really kind of snowballed, which is a terrible winter pun, but it's snowballed.
There's going to be a lot of puns here this week. There already have started. It's really bad. I apologize to everyone out there.
Yeah, apologies in advance. There's going to be a lot of terrible dad and pun humor this week, but it snowballed into this kind of cool community effort where a lot of different people from all different walks of life were contributing, sharing their experiences with the Great Lakes and with different fish species. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about how Scicomm can be a tool to engage people, not just in scientific understanding, but in producing these personal responses to science, which is really a key thing.
Yeah, so definitely tune in. As Illinois Indiana Sea Grant said, yes, it was indeed awesome. So it's definitely a talk that I'm looking forward to. So it really goes to show you how you can just take a simple concept and really reach a lot of people out there with your science through Scicomm.
Yeah. And Nicole, what about you? I know you're giving a talk tomorrow.
I'm talking about this. Yeah, so everything with Periscope, Facebook Live, all about doing the live streaming, so getting your science out there to an audience of where they can engage back with you through live on video like this is pretty much what it's going to be. So I'm going to give you a little preview of what the programs are, the platforms that you can use, different ways that you can use it to help highlight your science, and then also show you some of the equipment that I use for things, so that way you can see the craziness of cables that has to happen to make this happen. So,
but there's no better person to give it. I mean, you are the live streaming Scicomm guru. So
somehow, yeah, I've kind of fallen into that now. So, but yeah, so definitely tune in for that. There's going to be a lot of other great talks. We're going to have a couple of the other speakers on to preview their talks, which will be exciting because I'm glad I was actually able to talk them into coming to iAgler, because this is their first time here, so I'm excited to have them here. So, and that's the really good thing about Scicomm that I really like, is it gets people from all these different disciplines to come in and share their work and how they do their Scicomm and reach out to people.
Yeah, and we have people who may not be specifically Great Lakes focused even, but sharing kind of the universal lessons of Scicomm, which is cool. Because a lot of things I think can transfer between disciplines, can transfer between systems, being Great Lakes or wherever you do your science.
So for anyone out there who has any questions for Katie about Scicomm, about Social Great Lakes, the symposium tomorrow, definitely feel free to send them in. We don't want to just be talking at you. Feel free to ask away any questions you have. So I'm going to take a little side note here. All of us are Scicommers, but we're also we're scientists first, many of us. So can you tell us a little bit about what science it is that you do?
Of course. So I'm actually a grad student at the University of Notre Dame, and my focus is on kind of the coastal wetlands around the Great Lakes. So I look at how fish use the wetlands throughout their life and how they might take some of the energy that's in these really productive habitats and move it between the lake itself and the wetland, and kind of that transfer of energy and nutrients. I always joke it's an excuse for me to get out on a boat and catch fish all day, but I do really...
woe is us with that job.
Darn. But for every, nice day that's sunny and beautiful, behind us, you have
There's the days when you're in the waders and you got your winter coat, but it's still the first part of September. You're like, it's summer.
This should be a lot warmer and a lot more enjoyable. But so... I really enjoy it, and most of my work focuses on fish, but I kind of look at whole ecosystems too, which is fun.
So what are some of the issues that you see with the coastal wetlands of Michigan? Are they getting better? Are they getting worse? When you're out there, what is it that you see?
That's actually a really good question, because I'm involved in this big kind of multi-institution project, which is coastal wetland monitoring, and we go across the entire basin basically on a yearly basis, going to certain sites and doing basically the same kind of sampling at each site as a way of setting baselines and seeing what's there. And so this has actually been going on since 2011, and it's nice because we're getting a kind of long-term data set about the health of these wetlands, and it's important because a lot of these, one of the scary stats is that 50% of the wetlands that used to exist in the Great Lakes are basically gone. That were there previous to European settlement have been basically filled in or converted to other land use.
Yeah, it's when I had Charles V. Van Rees on a month or two ago, and he does work in Hawaii with their wetlands there, and the figure that he showed pre-settlement to now of their wetlands, it just made you go,
you're just wow. My God.
It's just there's nothing there.
Yeah, and then the rest of the wetlands that are here face, the same issues that a lot of just the Great Lakes face in general: invasive species, habitat fragmentation. And so by monitoring these wetlands, we can kind of see how the health is doing and, focus our efforts on restoration and kind of preserving what we have left.
Yeah, and speaking of preserving what we have left, a lot of us got a really big scare this year of possibly having our funding cut. If your funding was cut, if that big, $300 million GRI grant got slashed down to $10 million, how do you think that would impact you and your work?
It would definitely impact me. A lot of our work, or a lot of our funding does come from the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative. That's what funds this big institutional kind of project. And I mean, it would be really difficult to go and maintain kind of our sampling regime. It involves a lot of travel. We sampled, I believe it's 800 to 1,000 wetlands.
Yeah, because I think like per year, like our lab has done like 50 to 60 wetlands every year, and of course, it's been since 2011. Because my lab does the bird and amphibian section of this huge study, and it's a lot of travel, it's a lot of wetlands.
And you need a lot of people power. Yeah, if you don't have that money, we would love to go out there and do it as much as we can, but there are logistical limitations and limits to what you can do.
Yeah, and without that data set, how can we inform the public what it is that they need to do to be able to make the Great Lakes healthy or maintain their health? We don't have that data set there.
And it's not just the public that can know what they can do. A lot of the data that we collect as part of this project is used by managers, so people who are managing the land, they really rely on those data to make decisions about, where am I going to focus my efforts on restoring, or where am I going to, focus my efforts on preserving.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of like having our funding cut and things like that, and bringing it back to Scicomm, how important is it for us to be able to reach out and talk to people about this, so that way they know the issues that face the Great Lake? How do you use something like science communication to be able to reach out to people?
Absolutely. I mean, that was one of, I think, the things that 25 Days of Fishmas did really well, was talking about, the emotional and kind of personal connection to the Great Lakes and how things have changed over time. I know one day we talked about like alewives, which are an invasive species in the Great Lakes, and we talked about some of the impacts that they had, such as big piles of fish ending up on Great Lakes beaches, and kind of tying that into these issues that have been mitigated over the years because of the increased funding towards research, and increased funding towards management. And these are things that may not that might need to be continued if we want to keep moving forward and making the Great Lakes great again.
Great, yes. So we had a question come in. How do you reach out to the public? Is it just through Twitter, or do you do other ways of trying to reach the public and get them engaged with what is going on with the Great Lakes?
That's a great question. I do a lot of my own personal outreach through Twitter, but I also do some kind of local events. Notre Dame does this kind of Science Sunday thing where we bring in or we invite the public to the local parks and we talk about different environmental issues. Last fall I was talking about microplastics in kind of, ecological systems, and we made a cool game where kids could pretend to be filter feeders.
Ooh, I'm always game for games.
Games are awesome. We basically had a big fish tank filled with water and zooplankton, which were little paper cutouts, and we had thrown in some plastics as well. So basically the kids were acting like they were a filter feeder, like a clam, trying to get those zooplankton, but at the same time, because they were using like a little net, they couldn't just get the zooplankton, they also caught they caught the plastic. And so that kind of illustrated to them that, if you're filtering a lot of water, you might grab or pull in things that you don't want, like plastic debris.
Okay. Yeah, I like those kind of hands-on activities, so that you can really get people engaged with it. Because I always find the more hands-on you get, the more it just resonates. At least that's me. I find I learn better when I'm actively doing something.
Yeah, you're kind of engaged in that sense. You're not just passively absorbing information.
Right. Yeah, especially for the kids out there, if you can really get them involved with something, it really sticks home. And it's amazing how much they remember. I've got a 9-year-old nephew and a 7-year-old niece, and the amount of information that they remember from my research and other things, because I've actually literally had my nephew helping me sort SAV, or submerged aquatic vegetation, that it was real stuff I used for my thesis, and he remembers all that, and he some of it I almost wonder if he knows it better than me, because he can retain it that well. And so if you can make that hands-on stuff, it's amazing what they do.
Well, and that you bring up a good point, Nicole, is why did any of us get interested in science? And I know for me, it's like as a kid, I got to go play in the streams, and my parents encouraged me to like read science books and stuff. And so I think if you make that kind of personal connection at a young age, you're more likely to want to get engaged in some sense, whether or not that means becoming a scientist or just being interested in science. I think making that connection early in life is really important.
Yeah, so we have another commenting question. Most have little to think about the environment, so small things do help. So yeah, those little things, like I was just watching on the news the other day about kids from downtown Grand Rapids who had never been to Lake Michigan before, and there was a special trip that a dozen of them were able to go out for the first time and see Lake Michigan. I was just like, you live, 30, 40 miles away from the lake, and you've never been there. And these were, I can't remember if they were like middle school students. I believe there was middle school students, and it was just like, it was so sad that they had never been there. But by exposing them to that, they're like more likely to be able to get engaged and care about it and be wanting to either, whether or not they eventually become scientists or not, that they are going to be supportive of scientists and supportive of the work that we do to be able to help and protect the Great Lakes.
Right. I think sometimes, I know sometimes I take the Great Lakes for granted. It's like, they're in our backyard, they're just kind of there sometimes, but when you really think about it, having such a large freshwater system, these freshwater seas basically, is really, really unique and really a great asset to this part of the country, that definitely, I think, in the past has maybe been a little abused, to put it lightly, but I think we're making strides to bringing them back.
Yes, for sure. So we're going to try to keep things moving on. We're gonna awkwardly switch things and hopefully get everyone mic'd up, but we figure it was better to be able to do this all through one stream rather than starting a second stream. So as soon as I can get a couple of these other folks over here to get up over here and get mic'd, we'll continue on. But I definitely want to thank Katie for joining us, and tune in tomorrow because we'll be broadcasting all the talks from Socials for Great Lakes, so you can catch your talk about 25 days of fish miss and see all the fun. And is there a Grumpy Burbot?
Grumpy Burbot totally makes a cameo. Okay. There's a lot of Twitter cameos, and you might want to pull up a cup of hot chocolate, get in the holiday spirit. There might be
when it's 80 degrees.
When it's 80 degrees outside, yeah.
Although it is pretty cool in here, you probably could get away with it.
So, we'll get in the holiday spirit and take you back to 25 days of fish miss tomorrow. But there's going to be a lot of other cool talks that you should definitely tune in for as well.
Right. Yep, so we're going to get Jordan and Auriel over here.
We'll do some awkward mic switching.
We can get them away from the conversation that they already started, because they're Scicomming, without
They started Scicomming, yeah.
I mean, really? Come on, get over here. So, all right, give us just a second to get things switched around, and we'll continue with the second half of this. So.
Can I get the microphone?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Yeah. That way you can't get away. Alright, we're gonna awkwardly have to cuddle together. I think that's good.
I clearly don't like either of you. So
no, not at all
really,
to you.
Really
yeah. So I want to thank these two lovely gals for showing up to iAgler, because they are not Great Lakes scientists, but they are amazing Scicommers. So I will let you guys introduce yourselves out to the Periscope world out there, please.
So, hey everybody, my name's Auriel Fournier. I'm currently a postdoc down at Mississippi State, but if you follow me on Twitter, you probably know about my project Mow Rails. So I spend a lot of time working in wetlands and studying bird migration.
My name is Jordan Rutter, and I actually did my master's recently in the Great Lakes, so I do have a connection, luckily. I studied the Great Lakes population of high-beam plovers.
That's where I am in this part. If I'm already forgetting that with this day, that is so bad. It's because you're in Minnesota, I completely forgot.
But so I actually did a Human Dimensions project with them, and you can learn more at #GLPIPL, GLPIPL. But currently I am actually the communications person for the American Ornithological Society, or at @AmOrnith on Twitter.
See, it's because you've never been to iAgler. That's the thing that keeps throwing me off. So these two wonderful Scicommers are going to be presenting tomorrow with their work with MoRails and with AOS/NAOC. So why don't you give us maybe just a little preview of what people can look forward to tomorrow?
So tomorrow, most of what I'm going to be talking about is kind of using my experience kind of tweeting about my doctoral research as kind of a case study for how you can use Twitter and to a tiny extent Periscope to kind of share field research live in the field and different strategies for doing that, how to do it effectively, just kind of things like that. So lots of rail pictures and pictures of mud and ATVs and reflections on those topics. So it should be fun.
Yeah. And I'm going to be talking about NAOC 2016, which stands for the North American Ornithological Conference, which happened last year in August in Washington, D.C. I actually was the person behind the social media for that conference, and we'll be using that as a case study to talk about why social media and scientific conferences are a match made in digital heaven. I personally and others do agree that social media is a way for us to get the science at these conferences outside of the walls of, say, the conference center, and actually be able to share what this cutting edge research is with people that aren't here in person. So, yeah.
So for those of you out there who are currently getting to enjoy part of IAGLR but not even being here, this is a really good format to be able to do that. What are some other different ways that you guys have seen people engage with conferences when they're not actually able to be at the conference themselves that you found effective?
You mean via social media?
Yeah.
Or, well, so Auriel and I actually were at the Wilson Society conference in March in Florida, and there were people that were tweeting that they wanted people to tweet more because they weren't there in person, and so they had questions that they either wanted us to ask in person for them on their behalf, or they just wanted to hear more about the talks. Usually the programs are put on a website, and so that allows people that aren't in attendance to be able to see, which would then allow them to say, you know, I'm really interested in this topic, like, tell me more. I know Vultures of DC actually was a bird account that asked for more bird questions to be asked at this bird conference. So that was really fun.
Yeah. So I think that's really effective, and I mean, one of the things that's been really interesting to me is, as someone who's been trying to be at a conference and use Twitter to expand that reach, I found that I stay in one symposium more to kind of help give the people that are reading my tweets that broader context, which has been really interesting as well, and it's kind of changed how I go to conferences too, so that's been cool.
It's also been a really nice way to, even if you are in person at the conference, to be able to keep track of the symposiums or talks that you can't go to, because you can't be in multiple places at once. So I personally have tag teamed with other people, including Auriel or Nicole, to say, you know, we're going to split up and then be able to have notes essentially on Twitter that we can go back to and reference when reviewing all of those talks that we went to, and so that's been a really cool way. And I think, and this I'll talk more about in my talk tomorrow, but Twitter is really made for conferences just because you have the ability to post so frequently and so much compared to, say, Facebook. And so I'll talk about some of those differences tomorrow.
Yeah, I definitely find Facebook is one like where you only want to post maybe once or twice a day. If you're overloading people, it just get really bogged down, especially if you're running, say, like your own page versus a profile where folks are getting those notifications. It's nice, like with Twitter, you can kind of tune it out until you want to be able to engage back in. And,
Well, and there's the hashtag too, which allows you then to see all of the posts collated together. So it's not just your post, but it's everyone. Where in Facebook, that's a lot more challenging. So.
When you're live tweeting a talk, what are some like tips and tricks that you have for when you're actually out there doing it that you have found have been successful?
Thread things together. So like start with like the title and if you can the person's name, and then string everything together from there. That way folks can kind of follow and get a little bit more of the context. Because one tweet from a talk without the bigger context can be really confusing sometimes.
Yep. Two other things, and this is really highlighting my talk tomorrow, so you're getting a good little preview. Make sure you include the hashtag, because it's great for you to be posting at a conference, but your actual level of engagement and exposure will greatly decrease if you don't use that hashtag. And then the other thing is try to remember that it's okay to post a lot. So don't put too much information into one tweet, right? You want to be clear and concise because it is the internet. You don't want to be convoluted or misconstrued. And so it's okay to post 50 times instead of try to put an entire talk summarized into one tweet. So just, again, going back to that thread, utilize that.
Yeah, I really like the mention of the hashtag, because I know the side party, which you're a moderator of, if you aren't putting that hashtag in there, I won't see that because I just search the hashtag and keep refreshing that particular search to be able to see what people are posting, and I assume a lot of people do the same thing when it comes to conferences as well. Definitely. So what are some of the things that you guys are looking forward to since this is your first trip to IAGLR?
I've actually been to IAGLR before. What? I don't think you've realized.
What? How did I miss this? I've been here for years, and I've never seen you.
I was at IAGLR in 2009. When it was at the University of Toledo.
That was before my time. How am I supposed to know that?
Anyway, yeah. I mean, I'm really excited to just, to be exposed to like a different scientific community and get to absorb some good stuff, and also just to be back in the Great Lakes. I mean, I grew up in Ohio, and it's good to be back. So, I've been here before. This is old.
I'm just gonna end between forgetting that Jordan's research was here in the Great Lakes, of which I actually helped her process some of her research, and then that you've actually been here. I'm just gonna turn in my badge.
We're done. Conference over. Yes, all canceled.
I don't know, Jordan, what are you looking forward to since this is your first time,
yes,
right?
This is my, for sure, 100%, I'm double checking.
Yes, this is my first IAGLR conference, and I totally legit, but I feel like the cop-out answer would be the exposure to all of the non-bird science, since I am a bird person.
There are some birders here.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that this is a different tax than even other scientific studies that I'm not as familiar with. So I am going to actually final answer say the fish versus bird puns that are going to be happening over the next 10 days. The fish person over here see that as a big challenge. You're going to yes. So
seems like fighting words.
Yeah. Well, I want you to know that I totally just winged that answer.
We'll try not to get too sore about it.
Yeah, we're lucky Solomon's not here, otherwise this would be so bad. So, the guard puns that are going to be happening are just going to be horrendous. So
it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Really.
A whole week of this. You have a whole week of this.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, so what are some other just general things when you guys see Scicomm out there that would be beneficial for people here at the conference to partake in now?
So for folks who are actually here attending the meeting?
Right.
I mean, I think you can also use Twitter as a way to find a smaller community within a conference. So if you see somebody on Twitter tweeting, see if they will, grab coffee with you, or if you can meet up with them at a reception or something and kind of make a connection. Even if you don't talk for very long, it can be a really great way of finding a smaller community within a conference and meeting people that you probably wouldn't have run into otherwise.
Yep. And then this is kind of an overarching comment, but also addresses the question directly, is that social media is a tool. And so you want to take advantage of this tool. It's not supposed to replace those in-person interactions because there will never be anything that beats those. But in order to have even more meaningful networking opportunities or more meaningful interactions, you can use social media to, again, either document the conference in the form of note-taking or to set up said coffee dates. So it really is just something that you kind of will get what you put into it. And so if you want to just be an observer, whether that's on social media or in person, that's great. But if you actually want to put a little bit more investment into it, you can, again, make friendships or meet people that can, again, go beyond the walls of the conference, whether that's right now in this moment or even beyond the time of the conference.
Yeah, I know myself personally, when I've engaged with someone on Twitter and then actually met them in real life, it's made that transition so much easier. You're so much more at ease with that person than what you are if you're just personally hi, I'm Nicole, it's nice to meet you.
I can't imagine you ever actually introducing yourself.
No, I totally wouldn't.
Well, it's funny you bring that up, Nicole, because when I was down at the registration table, I said my name to get my registration materials, and they're just like, oh, I recognize you from Twitter, and then like it led into an introduction, and so that was super cool. To like, you know, it was a natural way to be like, oh, I know your name, and yeah.
Right, and even if you didn't know someone ahead of time at the conference, I've had people where they've followed my tweets during the conference, and I've met them towards the end of the conference, and it's eased that transition right there. Like at NAOC last year, Charles B. Van Rees like came up to me and he looked at my name badge, and all of a sudden his eyes got really wide. He's like, "You're Wildlife Bio Gal," and it just started this huge fun conversation that's continued. Like I've even had him on Scicomm Monday because of that interaction, because he was engaged with Twitter, and so it's.
Plus he does rail work, which is just a great quality person. So.
Well, and I will say this too. It's a lot easier to stay in touch with people on social media, at least I personally find, than when you have to email them. And that's either because you can kind of like check in on what they're posting at any time of the day without them really knowing.
You're stalking them online, just admit it.
Without having to bother them is probably a better way of putting it. It's a little less stalkery. You're checking in on them without making them give you.
But my segue was going to be that sometimes, you know, when you want to reach out to someone that you really look up to or think they're doing really cool science, emailing can sometimes seem a little
it can be intimidating.
Yes, it can be intimidating. It can seem like an obstacle.
It's so formalized too. I feel like social media is so much more just casual.
Yep, and so I think that there is this kind of element of having a very welcoming persona on social media. And so if you tweet at someone a question or just want to connect after the conference, that's okay, and it's nice to be able to. Sorry, I'm distracted.
No, you're good.
I'm sorry.
No, but it really does, like, I mean, the community that you have with Scicommers is really, I mean, look at us here. I mean, we all got to know each other because of social media, and it's led to some really good friendships and things that carry on, like, past just social media. Like, it's a good support system. Like, I know any time of the day I can get a hold of any of these gals, and they're gonna, like, have some good answers to help me, like, get through whatever, even if it's my science, if it's, you know, something personal of life as a scientist. It's
life in general.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's really good, and everyone's always so welcoming. I think that's just because when you're a communicator, you want to be out there and helping folks and helping them learn, and it translates into your daily life with how you interact with people.
It's really amazing for students to get that outside community.
Yeah. And students of any age or level.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
So
yeah, I mean, if you're undergrad, if you're a freshman, start Scicomming now. It will help you so much when it's time for you to try to get a grad school position or beyond. I mean, it gets you that network of people that will know who you are, and so when you are sending off your CV, they're like, oh, I already know who you are. We're good.
Well.
Right.
Especially now that whether it's graduate school or any school or even jobs, they'll Google you. They will. They will check up on your social media accounts. So having that digital presence is not only beneficial, but, you know, doing it in a way that really is promoting what your values and what you're about will actually benefit you in the long run as well.
Yeah, and there's the benefit of sometimes PIs will post opportunities on Facebook, or not Facebook, on Twitter, maybe Facebook too. I'm just not as familiar with that, but they can share opportunities that you may have missed through other traditional means,
like job boards
right. And conferences. So that's kind of cool that you can have those opportunities right at your fingertips.
Yeah. And it can again give you kind of a less formal way of kind of reaching out and being like, oh, I have a question about this position, and kind of getting that feedback. So yeah, it can be really
absolutely.
Good.
Yeah. So any last minute comments, suggestions, or things for everyone out there before we get off? And
well, anybody's at Agler, you should definitely come by and say hi to everybody. Don't be afraid to say hi and introduce yourself, and see you on Twitter.
Yeah, definitely don't hesitate to reach out on Twitter and ask us questions or just say hi or anything like that. So.
Yeah, and speaking of reach out for Twitter, I'll throw up everyone's handles so you guys can all have it if you want to take a screenshot. So the hashtag for the conference is IAGLR2017. Obviously, you can always reach me at Scicomm Monday or at my personal handle, Wildlife Bio Gal. You can reach all of these gals at their different handles, so go ahead.
Dr. Catfish is me.
Rally Rule.
J.E. Rutter.
And then the hashtag for the symposium is Social Great Lakes, so definitely follow that hashtag along throughout the conference, and especially tomorrow during the symposium, which is from 1:20 to 5:20 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time, and we will be broadcasting that live on Periscope, so tune in to see all of this great Scicomm that will be coming to you live. So with that, I hope you guys all had a good time. Thank you so much for coming in, and thank you to everyone for being patient with a couple of late stragglers. Yeah, sure. We've been to Iagler before. Yeah. So, all right. We'll see you guys all tomorrow or any other time to hopefully get things out for everyone. So, see you all later. Bye.